Welcome to the Crystal Hive. It has been quite some time since I put out some content, so my apologies, but I am back, adjusting my headset and all that nonsense that I do at every beginning of the video, because I am unprofessional. I am Brian, the Keysmith of Colorado, and again, this is the Crystal Hive, where today I'm going to be talking about, the community's been abuzz with some leaked information as well as some just presented information, not necessarily leaked, by Fantasy Flight about the new Keyforge set, not Age of Ascension, called Worlds Collide. With that, they made an announcement that two of our current houses, Mars and Sanctum, are going to be rotating out. Not permanently. I like to consider it more of they're being benched. They're probably working on some mechanics to make them a little better, a little more balanced. Sanctum's kind of that meh house that has some cool mechanics, isn't overwhelming, more of a support house for sure. Mars, we know my feelings about it. A little bittersweet to see them rotate out or get benched out. But two new houses have been announced, the Saurians and the Star Alliance. This is not my review of the houses, as I was not at Gen Con. This is my reactions to what I believe to be not necessarily the strongest cards, but some of the most intriguing cards that I've seen out of the two new houses. So without further ado, let's dive in. So the first we have the Saurians. For those that are not keen on English skills, which most of the community is, because a lot of people read between the lines and make the rules seem like whatever they want them to do. We won't go down that rabbit hole. Saurians, it means of or from reptiles, thus the end of the word dinosaur. Just means ancient reptile. So, Saurians, they are dinosaurs. Surprise, surprise. With that, their lore that was leaked about them is they are more of a peaceful race. They used to be a race or civilization that was hellbent on a lot of militaristic presence and a lot of invasions. Think ancient Rome. That era, that type of, you can even see on the armor here on the leaked picture. With that in mind, we're going to dive into my first card here, Axial of Gris. It's an action, on play, ward a creature. Destroy each creature with no amber on it, gain 2 chains. No if-then statements, very distinct clauses. I like that templating much better, especially for this action. However, it introduces a new keyword, or not even keyword, new action, ward. What warding does is it prevents a creature from leaving play. That can be from discard from play, remove from play, destruction due to damage, or this effect, honestly. So you would drop a new type of token on it. They are coming in the new 2-player box. For those of us that use custom tokens, you're going to have to find something that marks a ward. And when they are warded, you destroy each creature with no amber on it, so you could drop a ward on a creature that has no amber to protect it. The Saurians, similar to Sanctum, have a lot of ways to gain amber on your current creatures. So this, in tandem with that mechanic, can save your board while nuking your opponents. I just think I love seeing mass board clears because the current set does not have a lot of them. I'm not saying it doesn't have any, but the ones that currently exist are highly conditional. This is just a real nice flavor, pretty straightforward with a little bit of flair to it. Jump to the next one here of Paraguardian. This is a creature. Power 6, armor 1. And sorry, before I dive in any farther, I apologize if the image quality of these pictures are not ideal. The ones that I took from the Fantasy Flight release article are these super high def pictures, like one you're looking at right now. The other ones are pictures of people that were looking at the teaser card layouts in the Gen Con prize wall. So I took the best pictures that I had.
Wow.
With that, get back to Paraguardian. 6 power, 1 armor creature. Traits are Dinosaur, Soldier. On Reap, you may exalt Paraguardian. If you do, ward each of its neighbors. Again, new word, exalt. What that means is you may take an amber from the common pool, place it on this creature. So this is a really layman's way of putting it, but you're capturing amber from the common pool. So exalting a creature works similarly to capturing, other than you're not taking it from your opponent. But should this creature die, any amber on it from exalting it go to your opponent. But what this does is the high risk, high reward, or whatever, medium risk, high reward, however you want to look at it, you are putting an amber on this creature and then protecting both of the neighbors from being killed or removed from the board. So he's very literally doing what he is. He's guarding his creatures that are his neighbors. Not necessarily a game-breaking card. I just really like this mechanic of Exalt to protect some stuff. You're making this guy super prestigious to prevent lesser prestigious or lesser strong creatures from being removed from play. Brings us to card number 3, the Falassoros. He is another creature, power 4, 0 armor, dinosaur, philosopher. On Reap, you may look at the top 3 cards of your deck. Archive 1, add 1 to your hand, and discard 1. Flavor text says, all I know is that I know everything. So, kind of a pompous thing to say, and I'm honestly probably going to use that sometimes. But the cool, for those that play Magic the Gathering or other card effects, this is kind of a scrying effect in essence. There were some effects like this in Star Wars Destiny, there probably still are. It's pretty common mechanic with Fantasy Flight card games. Doesn't matter the type of card game you're playing, but what this does is it helps you filter through your deck and do what you want with the cards. So you can keep one you take one for this turn, save one for future turns by archiving it, and pitch one that may not serve you well right now. I love this mechanic out of Logos right now. Anyone that plays me locally, I almost always have a Logos card with me. I love the deck manipulation of Logos in Age of Ascension, and this is just tapping off of that love. So I don't know if it's necessarily strong with the Saurians, but it's a cool mechanic that I enjoy. Then we're looking at Senator Strix, another creature, power 4, armor 1. And you may spend amber on Senator Strix as if it were in your pool. On play and or reap, you may exalt Senator Strix. So it's a creature version of I'm totally blanking on the card right now. Pocket Universe. And I know Shadows has one as well, but I don't have any decks with this. I can't remember its name. But it allows you to use the amber on Senator Strix to forge your keys. So if you can, in conjunction with the Paraguardian, put Senator Strix next to your Paraguardian, you can ward her and keep her in play, ideally, fingers crossed, to the point where you can use the amber on her to forge your keys. There are also mechanics inside the Saurian house that allow you to, actually throughout most of the set, to allow you to use other friendly creatures or other non-main or non-active house cards. So you could stack some amber on Senator Strix pretty reliably to get 2 or 3 free amber towards your key. Let's hop to the next one. Speaking of forging keys, Colosseum. This one had me immediately freaking out. It's a key cheat artifact. It's a location. After an enemy creature is destroyed while fighting, put a glory counter on the Colosseum. Oh, excuse me, talking too much makes me yawn. I'm just going to tackle this first part of the text because this is long text on the card. After an enemy creature is destroyed while fighting, it is not bold text triggered, which means if your opponent kamikazes one of their creatures into one of yours, they put a glory counter on you put a glory counter on your Colosseum. So it doesn't matter if you are attacking or defending, if an enemy creature dies during a fight action, you get a glory counter on the Colosseum. Your creatures don't even need to survive. That's an important trigger to know. Then it's Omni. If there are 6 or more glory counters on the Colosseum, remove 6, and forge a key at current cost. So it doesn't decrease the cost of your keys, but it allows you to forge keys regardless of your active house, as long as you can afford the key at current cost. That is crazy. You will see a lot of artifact hate nuke this card pretty quickly, because you can rack up 6 kills in, if you have a heavy fighting deck, 2 turns, maybe even 1 if you have the right combo set up. So keep an eye on this card. This card could be your nemesis in quite a few games. The last card from the Saurians is the Syrian Legionary. Before I even dive into what the card is, this art is fucking beautiful. I want this on a full wall poster. I mean, I even have all the Keyforge posters up here. I just haven't added all of them, and my cam can't show all of them all at once. I just want this art as a poster just blazoned across my entire wall. So kudos to the artist. I can't see the name the way I have this templated right now, but you deserve all of the kudos anyone can give you. This is a Syrian Legionary. It's a creature. Power 5, Armor 1, Dinosaur Soldier, has Taunt, and on play, ward a friendly creature. Nothing significant, but if you can bounce creatures, play this guy multiple times, there is a card that I'm talking about from Star Alliance that could piggyback off of this play effect. You can do some pretty cool stuff. So it does seem like Saurians are going to operate around the warding and exalting mechanic quite a bit. So those are definitely mechanics to know, and when the new set comes out, I'm sure the rulebook will adjust to it. Make sure you know that new terminology and how those effects interact. But we're going to jump now into the Star Alliance. So the Star Alliance, I'm a nerd. I mean, I'm wearing a Pokemon Go hat. The Star Alliance reminds me of Nova Corps from Guardians of the Galaxy. It's a collection of a bunch of races that create this house, we'll use Keyforge terminology, that stand for order and cooperation and diplomacy and all that kind of stuff. So keep that in mind while you're looking at the theme of all of this. First card is going to be another creature, Chief Engineer Walls. Power 2, no armor, human. He is elusive. On play, fight, and or reap, you may return an upgrade or robot card from your discard pile to your hand. So it doesn't specify it must be a Star Alliance, so this can interact with Logos pretty well. Star Alliance does have some robots. I think one of them is CALV1N. I'm just going to call him Calvin, as most people probably will, who is not one of my cards that I'm talking about. But it gives you some interesting ways to do some card recursion from your discard pile, as well as upgrades, so it might help you protect some creatures. It does seem, I don't think a lot of the cards I'm talking about do this necessarily, but the Star Alliance have some interesting mechanics around upgrades. So that'll be cool to see, because upgrades kind of right now seem to be an afterthought. Decks, I think, average 1 per deck. So it would be cool to see some more upgrades. The Explo Rover, Power 3, Armor 0, Robot. So this is one that Chief Engineer Walls could interact with. Has Skirmish. It also says Explo Rover may be played as an upgrade instead of a creature, with the text, this creature gains Skirmish. So Star Alliance is introducing this cool interaction where you can use their creatures either as a creature or as an upgrade. So it gives you some flexibility with your creatures, that maybe you want to buff one creature you already have, or maybe you just want to get another creature on the board. It's really hard to tell, especially with me not having any demo decks or knowing anyone that has demo decks. It's hard to see how this is going to play out, but it's a really cool, it's a way of making sure the game stays fresh. They're introducing a lot of new stuff in this next set. We have Forging an Alliance. It gains you a bonus amber. It's an action. On play, Forge a key at +7 the current cost, reduced by 1 amber to a maximum of 6 for each house represented among cards in play. So, for people who aren't familiar with parenthetical clauses inside statements, this is not saying you forge a key at +7 current cost to a maximum of 6. Like, that doesn't make any sense. Your reduction minimizes the current cost by 6. So at minimum, you are paying 7 amber for a key, which is fine because this card gives you +1 from the bonus amber just for playing it. So as long as you had 6 amber when you play this card, and there are 6 houses represented, you can forge a key without issue. I just love key cheats. I love seeing them in houses outside of Untamed, because it is a huge part of Keyforge, being able to forge a key when an opponent doesn't expect it, or when an opponent can't do anything about it. Forging 2 keys in a turn, or forging a key for no cost when you have like 2 amber, cough cough, Martian Generosity, and Key Abduction, just laying that out there. It makes for a really interesting game and puts your opponent on their heels, and definitely makes you grab tempo, or grab a victory depending on when you play this card. So love this card, love its condition, and I love its flavor that you're getting more of a benefit for the more houses that are present. And then we're going to go to Helmsman Spears, another creature, power 2, armor 0, on fight and or reap. Discard any number of cards from your hand. Draw a card for each card discarded this way. And so I went into it a little bit in a previous video. I love Yerk and Dis for Age of Ascension. The ability to cycle your hand and get to the cards you want or need to see. This is awesome, especially the ability to maybe ready and reuse a creature. To do this once or twice in a turn is crazy. So you can just play all your Star Alliance cards, dump everything else, draw a number of cards equal to what you have. A whole bunch of different ways you can use this card to your benefit, and I'm really excited to hopefully pull some decks that have her as a mechanic. Then we're going to go to the Quadricorder. It's an upgrade. Your opponent's keys cost +1 amber for each house represented among friendly creatures, to a maximum of 3. So the reason it deems to a maximum of 3, there's cards in this game that allow you to take control of enemy creatures. Color Subordination is the main one that pops out, but you've got, what's his name? Eater of the Dead, whatever. I think that one's Purging. But anyway, there's ways to grab creatures that aren't in your house, so you could have more than 3 houses represented in your battle line. This caps it out to +3. But this being as an upgrade, you can pop it on a huge creature, or a creature that's being protected by taunts or ward, so you can have some impactful key cost increase for your opponent to allow you to gain tempo back. And this is going to be the last card, so 6 from each house. This one's probably the worst art that I've ever taken a screenshot of. It's so pixelated. Not against the artist, I mean, this is a terrible image. Creature 2, or power 2, Science Officer Morpheus. I can't see their armor, so I'm just not going to talk about it, but they are a shapeshifter scientist. After you play a creature with a play effect, excuse me again. After you play a creature with a play effect, trigger its play effect. I'm assuming that says 1 additional time. This is what I was talking about with the card from Saurian. So let's say you've got Smash in a deck that has Brabnar. You get to use Smash's stun twice. So anything with a play effect you can use twice. The amount of economy you get out of this is awesome. I love decks that have high play effects because you're not just slapping a card hoping it survives, you get an effect immediately. And the ability to do that twice, assuming it says 1 additional time, is awesome. You can get so much use out of things. Neutron Shark, actually. If you play Neutron Shark, assuming it gets reprinted, or he's a legacy in a deck. Once its effect stops, you can trigger it again. So you can do some crazy stuff with Neutron Shark. Schuler, you can steal 2 if your opponent has 4 or more amber for both triggers. I'm not even going to go down the list of things that are just pinging in my head right now. But Star Alliance and Saurians are the 2 new races replacing Mars and Sanctum for a little while. We have heard that Mars and Sanctum will be back in future sets. They're just being benched for now. Let me know what your favorite cards are. Let me know what you think is a good replacement, what you think these mechanics are really going to do the game. Is warding awesome? Is exalting too risky unless you have a deck that removes amber from your own creatures? Is the Star Alliance just a really bad remake of Mars? I don't know. Let me know what you think. Leaving comments below definitely helps. My community's been growing. So kudos to everybody. Keep getting the word out. Keep assimilating. And until next time, this is Brian Keysmith of Colorado, signing off from the Crystal Hive.